this rapper and him, they all in the room together.
Yeah, I go to Daddy House studio and I'm fucking with Diddy and
Rhymes, the legendary king of hip-hop, has found himself at the center of some jaw-dropping online drama. Wild videos have surfaced involving Diddy, male strippers, and Busta losing his composure in a way that's left fans stunned. The internet is buzzing with shock, asking how Busta, the artist known for keeping it cool and fresh for decades, ended up in this messy situation. Rumor has it, the footage has everything to leave you shook, and Busta's fiery response is already making waves. Stick around as we dive into all the spicy details and reveal the full story behind this unexpected chaos.
I know a lot of people want to hear these stories and everything like that because this is stuff that happened back in the day. And then maybe that if they knew there was going to ever be a YouTube or they knew there was going to ever be social media, a lot of the stuff probably wouldn't have got played out like it did. But things happen and these are just stories from the past. I would like to use that as, what you call that, just to clear the facts up what's going on. But it all started, we was in Atlanta. And this story starts when I'm with Puff and he's in the exotic bookstores and he's doing shopping, right? He's shopping, getting his stuff and everything like that. So, you know, this is the first time I was ever in an exotic bookstore with Puff. So, you know, I'm giving him his space. He's taking things off the shelves and stuff like that because they gave him a brown paper bag. When they gave him a brown paper bag, he was just putting stuff in there. So I said, damn, you know, he got to go put it on the counter and, you know, show everybody what he's getting. So as he's going, I'm just looking at the places where he's picking stuff from. So there's one part he picked up some things from up here on my left side. And then he picked like quite a few of them down. I was like, okay. He put them in the bag. So when I went by there and I looked up there and it said butt plugs. And I was like, hey, yo. I was messing with him. Because people don't understand, you know, we was like friends. He was a part of the same gang. So I'm still gonna tease him. I'm still gonna mess with him and everything like that. I could do that. It wasn't just no security thing. So I say, yo, what are you getting this for? And it said butt plugs, and he was like, yo, can I do my shopping by myself? I said, yeah, you could do it by yourself, brother. And he started walking and everything like that. When he got to, I just waited at the counter. When he got to the counter, he didn't even have to show the guy nothing. He just gave the guy a wad of money. I mean, like, he gave the guy a stack something like this. And Puff wasn't the dude that carried no 20s and no 50s and nothing like that. And I mean, like, he just said, boom. And we walked out the store. So we had to leave Atlanta and go to North Carolina for a show. You understand? And it was him, this rapper, Sarah, and this other girl. We all got on a G5 jet, and we flew the G4 jet, and we flew the.
Let me tell you about this wild video that's got the internet in a frenzy. Picture Busta Rhymes living his best life, calm and happy, when suddenly, boom, a video drops and everything changes in a heartbeat. Here's the tea: Diddy, male strippers, and Busta looking like he'd rather vanish into thin air. The tension, palpable. You could practically see the sweat pouring down his face. Word on the street is Busta tried to make a quick exit the moment he realized what was happening. But the internet, oh, they caught everything, every awkward move, every uncomfortable glance. It was like CSI hip-hop, with fans dissecting his every expression. His face screamed, "Get me out of here!" louder than words ever could. For a man who's seen it all in decades of hip-hop, this moment had him completely shaken, and the internet was eating it up.
I think that afternoon, same day, this rapper and him, they all in the room together. You know, it's Sarah, the girl, Puff, and this dude, this rapper. So I'm here at the door and stuff like that, like, yeah, so then next thing you know, somebody rang the doorbell. We had the presidential suite where we was at. So I opened the door and the dude said, yo, I'm here for my cousin. I said, who your cousin? And he said, Ja Rule. I said, well, he busy right now. He said, You busy doing what? I said, he with Puff, they're in the room, they busy, they don't want to be bothered. He said, well, I'm going in there. I said, bruh, you ain't going in there because he told me they don't want nobody to be bothering them. He was like, yo, I don't care, man, I'm going in there. That boot like that. I said, yo, bruh, Jesus Christ had to come down here and take the air out of my body before you get in that room right there. Watch. He tried to bum rush me. I grabbed it and threw him against the piano. When I threw him into the piano, Puff and Ja Rule runs out the room. Puff got his towel, Ja grabbing his towel, but they butt the naked. And so then Ja was like, yo, what's going on? Yo, G, that's my cousin. He know me well. You know, and Puff was like, yo, G, what happened? I said, he tried to get in the room. I told him he couldn't get in the room. And he was like, he just looked, Puff looked at Ja. He said, yo, Ja said, you ain't want to go in that room because there's a lot of freaking going on. So I was like, oh, you said there was a lot of freaking going on. So that was basically that story, man. You know what I'm saying? They went back in the room. Dude felt a certain kind of way, and he left out. So I seen them at the concert the next day, and they tried to, you know, form up against me. But my man Frank was like, I told my man Frank, I was like, yo, Frank, put yourself in that position. Somebody trying to get in the room, and Ja told you don't let nobody get in the room. What would you do? Now, y'all can do whatever y'all want to do, man, but you know I ain't taking no loss. Yo, you good, and that was it. Bruh, when Ja said, you don't want to come up in there, a lot of freaky stuff is going on. You got to use your mind. What they was doing with those butt plugs.
The video spread across the internet faster than you can say, pass the Courvoisier, and Busta's name was caught in a whirlwind of memes, jokes, and chaos. It was wildfire-level viral, with people dragging Busta through the mud like he was the main act. By the end of the night, his name was trending for all the wrong reasons. Memes popped up everywhere, old tweets were unearthed. It felt like watching a train wreck you couldn't look away from. But here's the thing about the internet. It never sleeps, and it sure doesn't forget. Speculation about Busta's future started swirling, with fans questioning how this would impact his image and legacy. And just when you thought it couldn't get messier, Busta himself entered the chat. Oh, he wasn't about to let this blow over quietly. Let's just say, his response shook things up even more. Stay tuned, because this saga is far from over.
For certain things like this, it's a lot of people that who hold weight. They want me to tell stories that they experience with them. I ain't doing that though. I may have some of them come on the podcast or something. Now I am gonna have the guy who got the case against Dwight Howard. He gonna come on the podcast and talk. That's gonna be interesting. Because you know, he hit me up thanking me. He's like, man, he felt more courageous. You feel me? He felt like he's not alone no more. Because, you know, he speak about dude like he a monster. You know what I'm saying? He showed me like the threats he was receiving and things like that from him. So like, you know, I'm getting a lot of support though, bro. Like the support I've been receiving, it really changed my whole life. Cause like working this job, bro, like it eat away at your soul, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Cause you can't really date like that. You feel me? And then you gotta keep so much a secret. You know what I'm saying? And like normal ladies feel insecure because you always around these models, these ladies who got all this surgery. They feel insecure about that. And it's like, you know, most ladies barely met a man they can really trust. So like, when you live in this lifestyle, bro, it's a lonely path, bro. You feel me? That's why I be so thankful for my family, like my mom, my brother, my homie Unknown, dude got like my brothers, you feel me? Like my members. You need that because like, bro, so many people were shocked at some of the things I was saying, but it's a lot of people who quietly in my inbox thanking me for speaking out about certain things. So you feel me? Like a lot of abuse victims are reaching out to me. You feel me? Buying shirts, bro, just sending me like I'll get like a $5, like a random $5 Apple Pay. Thank you for speaking out and all this type of stuff. I'm like, damn, okay. You know, a lot of people like like especially like a lot of sexual abuse survivors, man, they coming to me every day thanking me for speaking out about certain things, for protecting women and kids and stuff like that. You really like, this just my crusade I always been on, bro. You feel me? So like, I'm not really concerned about no detractors or what they have to say, because if you got a problem, come get up with me. Period. If not, shut up.
Just when you thought things couldn't get crazier, Busta Rhymes stormed into the drama, not with an apology, but like he was ready to burn it all down. Instead of damage control, Busta went straight to social media and let loose in the most chaotic way imaginable. No smoothing things over. No, this was a misunderstanding. Just pure, unfiltered fire. He called out names, threw shade like it was his full-time job, and threatened to expose people left and right. Fans were stunned, haters were entertained, and everyone else? Glued to the train wreck. Rumors even started swirling that Busta might have had a drink or two before posting. But nope, that was all him, raw and uncut. His rants about loyalty, respect, and old beefs dragged other rappers into the mix, igniting fresh drama. Screenshots of his wild posts spread like wildfire, with his PR team probably in full panic mode. For someone who's been in the game for decades, it was shocking to see him burn bridges over a video that could have been forgotten in days. But Busta, he wasn't about to let it go. He made sure the internet would never forget.
Grand jury. He says he was in possession of a trove of digital evidence from Diddy's freak-offs and parties. His name is Courtney Burgess. And he says a friend gave him 11 flash drives that belonged to the late Kim Porter. And if you follow this story, you'll know that Kim Porter is Diddy's ex-girlfriend and the mother of 4 of his kids. On those drives, the witness says 8 videos featured 8 celebrities at Diddy freak-offs or parties, and that 6 were males, 2 were females. The drive also included a manuscript of an alleged Kim Porter memoir, a memoir that her 4 kids insist is fake. Courtney Burgess told his story on a podcast before he told the grand jury today, and after he told the grand jury, and I mean immediately after, he booked it over to my set, and he and his attorney talked to me. I should tell you that he was very limited in how much detail he could go into about his testimony. And because the 8 people in the videos, the 8 celebrities in the videos were allegedly victims of sex crimes, we know who they are, but we will not be naming them, famous or not. Here now is my conversation with Courtney Burgess and Ariel.
He said, like a friend gave him this. And literally he's saying, we can see who these celebrities are. So in my mind, I'm just saying to myself, like, this wouldn't be part of the trial. I'm just kind of confused on, like, this wouldn't be part of the trial.
By the time Busta Rhymes finally stepped back to assess the damage, it was already too late. What started as a scandal had exploded into a full-blown crisis, thanks to his fiery social media meltdown. Instead of cooling things down, he made everything 10 times worse, and the internet wasn't about to let him live it down. Memes flooded timelines, jokes flew left and right, and Busta's name kept trending for all the wrong reasons. It was like a car crash in slow motion, impossible to look away. Fans, critics, even industry insiders were buzzing, questioning what this disaster meant for his career and the legacy he built over decades. What he thought might set the record straight only added fuel to an already blazing fire. Now the big question is, how does Busta recover from this? Because with every passing moment, the mess just kept getting hotter.
Is coming, and if so, how long ago?
Right, so me personally, I definitely seen it coming. Like 2013 was when I really first started speaking out about this, because he was booked to host an event in Chicago at a nightclub called The Vibe on 1534 North Kingsbury. I was head of security at this venue. And whenever celebrities would come through, the owner and the general manager, shout out PJ Khan and shout out Joey Vartanian, they would send me with celebrities after the club. So I ended up at one of his events, and a gentleman I used to work for, his name is David Arrington. He used to not work for, work with. He was security like me
big, strong, intimidating dude. Come to find out, you know, he was double dipping. You feel me? He was getting hired as a sex worker, and when I got to the event, he was there. And
as a bodyguard, or
no, he was there as a performer. Right. So that gentleman's incarcerated right now. He ended up killing his boyfriend, stealing his car, all type of stuff. So he crashed out. So that's how I ended up even knowing about this type of stuff. So, and when I got to the party, you know, all the waitresses was topless. They had like...
You're the second person to say that.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, everybody, the waitresses was topless. Like they had like dancers in cages, naked. I seen a few people had like lions on leashes and stuff like that. You feel me? And then, you know, once they came out to collect everybody's phones, that's when I said, I'm going to the car, y'all got it. Because I seen the Diddy guy holding hands with two vampire-looking dudes, like they was off Twilight. You feel me? So if you ever at a celebrity party, you see street dudes kicking in, the females, when you see the vampires come in, somebody case getting touched, better be on point, bro. Oh no.
Do you feel like you have the spirit of discernment to like know when you see a man or a woman that know they on some like you said the guy you was working with was a whole sex worker, and I don't, you know.
I was suspicious of him.
Okay.
For sure. You know, any person who worked private security at a high level, you know, I get this from my mom, the spirit of discernment. That's something she always said, exact words, so salute to you.
And the internet is eating it up. Remember how he was all about that family-friendly vibe? Well, that picture's gone, and fans are feeling the betrayal. Social media detectives are out in full force, digging up old interviews and unearthing anything that might tarnish his reputation. And they're finding plenty. The backlash is exploding like fireworks, but this time, it's not a celebration. Longtime fans are flooding the comments with disappointment, saying, "We thought you were different, Busta." Others are just basking in the chaos. Oh, and to make matters worse, whispers are circulating that some of his business deals might be in jeopardy. Brands, as always, don't want to touch controversy, and there's talk of companies cutting ties faster than you can say, "Put your hands where my eyes can see." It's a domino effect, and the fallout isn't slowing down.
You can look into somebody's eyes and tell if they're a killer. You can look in their eyes and tell if they're a get money person. You can look in their eyes and tell if, you know, they get a little extra wild. You feel me? Oh, bro.
Would you say this is one of the most uncomfortable situations you've been in, or?
No.
Okay.
Because I mean, like, if you know, you know. Like, you know, like, the celebrity world is mostly losers. You feel me? They just got money. Like, you know, they not player. Like, they're not kind to people. They don't want to talk to females. And most of them are, like I said, celebrity world is Zesselmania, man. Period.
You got a trademark number.
It's Zesselmania. You know, I done been in real life and death situations.
I've heard a lot of rumors of people say that Diddy's a gangster. Is Diddy a gangster being around him?
He's not a pushover. He a tough cake toucher, bro. I tell you that much, bro. Like,
tough cake toucher.
for sure, bro. Like,
you had said you had seen a scene where he came up to a young dude and choked him and said, "You either want to get with God or
grab the man by his throat."
Yeah.
He was like, "You want to walk with God or you want to be a roach, nigga?"
That's some gay shit to say.
And I'm looking like,
that's
damn.
some Frank Lucas shit.
So I'm like, damn, why you do that? I'm like, you gonna let him grab me like that? Because, bro, he real touchy-feely, so that's how he discern if he gonna try to, if you let him touch you a little too much,
he knows.
Yeah, he might grab you.
Wait, it gets even messier. Other rappers are now backing away, not wanting any part of the chaos. When your own peers start distancing themselves, you know it's bad. It's like Busta went from hip-hop royalty to radioactive overnight. Years of hard-earned reputation? Poof, up in smoke faster than a lit match. If this scandal proves anything, It's that the game is ruthless. And the internet, it never forgets. And definitely doesn't forgive. Still, this story isn't over. Hip-hop loves a redemption arc, and today's villain can easily become tomorrow's comeback king. The big question, can Busta turn this around, or will he just dig himself deeper? One thing's for sure, he's going to need to hustle harder than ever to win back the love and respect of fans and peers alike. Can he pull it off?
150,000 unaccounted for children that cross the border every year that are unaccounted for. There is a certain level of darkness that comes with levels of high wealth, because Rook just asked me right now that I think that he could rape somebody. You know, these are people who are not used to being told no. And like, I know a gentleman who has a yacht, right? The yacht probably costs like $200 million. And there's an entire staff that stays on this yacht. They stay for 6 months, the other staff come for the next 6 months. So if you got enough money, you can buy a person. You can buy their time. So that's the level of what's going on.
Now, there's been a lot of alleged saying that him with different celebrities in videos exist, both male and female. Do you know that to be true?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I've seen some still of some tapes being shot.
Now we live in the world of the deep fake and AI. Is it possible that that could be created or crafted and sold?
Well, it's kind of hard to fake CCTV footage, simply because it's time stamped and the pixels in that camera. Any AI footage, the pixels is way higher than a normal camera.
For sure.
So, you know, you got to take that into consideration.
I think I'm gonna Google everyone who has a $200 million yacht. And we're gonna line this. We're gonna get close.
It's hundreds of guys who got.
Okay.
Bro,
Yeah. Okay.
Rook, didn't you say you wanted a yacht?
Yeah. 200 million.
200 million.
I'm scared to get money now. Bro,
it's getting scary.
It's not the money that changes people, because if you're a man who get money, you know that this money is a tool.
Right.
It's not your identity. And like, I'm sure there are things that you wouldn't do for money.
Right.
So it's not the money that changes people.
Rook always told me money only amplifies who you really are.
Yeah, you don't really know who you are until you get some money.
Right.
Yeah.
For sure.
That you have anything in the world that you want. I'm gonna tell you what.
Now, Diddy was, he had sued the liquor company. I forget the name. It was a hard name for me to pronounce, but he pretty much won the lawsuit. But you know, it was explained that in these lawsuits there's a morality clause. Do you think that his battle against this liquor company could have been what set this off actually, or was this only inevitable?
Well, you gotta look at it. We all thought he owned Ciroc.
For sure.
He felt like eventually he would be able to get some ownership stake. He didn't. And these issues really started for him once he went after them. Because shortly thereafter, he sold Revolt TV. And anybody who follows him, Revolt TV was his baby. He worked hard on that.
Facts.
So once that was sold, I knew the end was near at that point. Because, you know, just like Gucci Mane when he went to jail, he passed his artist contracts off to people who can hold them and fulfill the details while he was gone. That's what they do. They pass it off to people who can put it in a shell corporation. You can have a corporation that have an anonymous owner. So once I seen Revolt get sold, I knew the end. I knew there was going to be